So here we have the two contracts, the helper staff contract and the person in need contract. The first one is an ERC 721 contract, and the second one is an ERC 1155 contract. Both the contracts are ownable and posable, and both the contracts have been deployed by the first address in the remix list. So this is the owner of both the contracts. It could be, for example, the volunteer address which deployed both the contracts. So in person in need contract we have different kind of assets, for example land, house, cow, and what else. Everyone is mapped to a wind, so if we are going to insert here the correspondent integer and we are querying the function URI, we retrieve the JSON file with the metadata associated to this kind of asset. So for example, here we have the first asset, which is the house, and here there is just cartoon representation of an house. In the futures, more metadata, more properties, and a different kind of image for sure could be added. For example, could be added the location of the house, and so the satellite image of the house. Anyway, so this is the person in need contract mainly, and the helper staff contract. So the helper staff contract, now we have to change the ownership because we want the helper staff contract to be the owner of the person in need contract. So we are going to copy the address of the helper staff contract, and we are going to transfer the ownership. So in this way here we transfer the ownership, and so now we can check that the owner of the person in need contract is the helper staff contract. So now we want to mint the NFT representing the person in need, and we want to mint the assets owned and asked by the person in need. So for example, just grab one of the address here in the list. So the second one should be the address of the first person in need, the beneficiary. We are going to mint his NFT, so we are going to retrieve his information. For example, here we have the token ID number 1, which is correspondent to the first person in need. Here we retrieve the metadata associated with the first person in need, and we check here all his data, for example, occupancy, family number, family members, his wallet address. This is important for as the beneficiary address. Here there is just a picture which is an avatar of this person in need, and that's it. So now we want to mint the asset of the person in need. We need the address of the person in need contract. So in this way here we are going to call from the helper staff contract that now owns the person in need contract. We are going to mint the asset for the person in need. So we have said that the second address is the beneficiary, so we are going to mint asset for him. In this way we are going to insert the asset owned by the person in need, so 0 houses, 0 cars, 0 bicycle, just 1 land and 1 cow, and is going to ask for an house, so nothing else. Okay, we have the 5 values, okay, and we are going to create so the beneficiary. Here we can see in the person in need contract that the first beneficiary is the address that we have selected, so the second in the list, and we're going to mint now the assets for this person in need. So we grab once again the person in need contract. We are going to mint the assets owned by the person in need. The first field here is the contract address, and the second field, as before, is the beneficiary address. So we are going to mint the assets owned by the person in need. We can see here, for example, that now the from the balance of for example, does he own an house? No, he doesn't. But for example, he owns a cow. that was the last ID in the list. Yes, it is. Okay, so now we are going to mint for this person in need the assets asked. So here we just select once again the beneficiary address, which is the second address in the list, and the contract address, the person in need contract address here. We are going to mint the asset asked from the person in need. Now if we are going to query if now he owns an house, which was the first ID, the first integer, now he owns an house. So he still owns the, for example, the cow, but he still doesn't own, for example, the car or the bicycle. The second one was the bicycle. He has no bicycle. So this is the main functionalities. For example, it is not possible to, for example, add one more time the beneficiary. Here we see that it is not possible because the beneficiary already exists, and it is not possible to mint the NFT once again because the pin token already minted for beneficiary. So all the functions are working, and one more, it is possible to pause the contract. So here is something is going to work not in a good way. We can just call the pause function to stop minting the assets for the beneficiaries, and in this way we see that the contract is paused. So now it's not possible to mint other assets for the beneficiary. And if here we retrieve the paused bool value, we have true. So now it's stopped the minting of the assets. That's it.